to the PSAT webinar. This is the new PSAT, supplemental info to transition into the 2016 SAT. I'm Michelle Colling with Test Prep Seminars, and we'll be spending a few hours today going through all that you need to know in regards to the new formatted PSAT that you'll be taking in October. Hopefully, you have a few tools with you today. You have a follow-along script that matches our PowerPoint. However, your script has a few blanks in it. You'll have to stay engaged with me in order to fill in your blanks. You also have a few practice quizzes as well, and the answer key for those practice quizzes are in fact in the back under Answer Sheet. Anytime you finish a test prior to time, you're welcome to go ahead and score your test while you're waiting for the test to complete. We will give you time at the end of each test to mark your scores. The other thing is you may or may not have a calculator today. We are actually taking a math test today that you will need the calculator. However, I'm sure you have a cell phone pretty close by. You're welcome to use your cell phone calculator for the math test today. However, I do ask that you put your cell phone on silent and you let it go dark except for the math test. So what are the hours that we're going to be spending today look like? Well, we're going to go through all three sections of the PSAT. Each one of those sections comes with its own score. We'll discuss those scores in the beginning, and then we'll get in depth of each one of those sections and the strategies and tips that will help you manage those sections and perform well on the SAT or the PSAT. Going forward through the rest of the day, you will be receiving tips and strategies that will help you do your personal best on this test. But you can't get there without preparation and practice. Those are the key elements to success. So we're in preparation mode now, and we're going to go into practice mode with the test, and we hope that you go forward in practice mode after our webinar today. Let's look at these different tests. Going forward, we used to have just one PSAT, and regardless of what age or grade level you were in, that's the PSAT that you took. With the new format, there are actually three different platforms of PSAT. We have what we call the PSAT NMSQT, our National Merit Scholar Qualifying Test. That's designed specifically for 11th graders and is used for the National Merit Scholarship Program explicitly. Then we have a PSA 10. That is designed for 10th graders looking to potentially qualify for National Merit next year and for them to have a roadmap and what they need to be working on to accomplish that in the following year. PSAT 8 and 9 is designed as a benchmark for 8th or 9th graders to see where they need to move forward in their studies to successfully achieve an SAT score they need to get into the college of their choice. That is different, but it's also highly beneficial to anyone taking the PSAT. However, anything that we talk about today for testing and strategies, time management, works across all three platforms. So let's look at what compromises the new PSAT. We'll talk about reading first. That's the first section that you will see in testing. Reading is 60 minutes. It has 47 questions, 4 passages that we consider what are long passages, and one that we refer to as a paired passage. Each one of those passages has 70 to 100 lines, and they have 9 to 10 questions per passage. Your sources for these passages will be literature. You'll have 2 from history or social studies and 2 from science. The next section will be grammar. Grammar is 35 minutes in length. It's 44 questions. It's 4 passages consisting of 11 questions per passage. Each passage and reading gives you about 8 minutes and 45 seconds to complete within the 35 minutes. Now you can take longer on one passage and shorter on another passage, but if you just broke it out into 4, it gives you about 8 minutes and 45 seconds. The sources for these passages will be career, history and social studies, humanities, and science. You have 2 math sections on the PSAT and the SAT going forward. You have Math Section 3, which is a non-calculator section. It's 25 minutes for a total of 17 questions. 13 of your questions are multiple choice, and 4 are what we refer to as free response. Those used to be called grid-ins. Simply said, they don't give you answer selections. You have to create your own answer. You have about 1 minute and 28 seconds per question to finish those based on that 25-minute testing time. We have Math with Calculator, which is Section 4. That's 45 minutes total, 31 questions, 27 are multiple choice, and 4 free response. The math that you will see is broken down like this. 33% of it will be algebra, 29% of it will be problem solving and data analysis, 28% advanced math, and 10% additional math, geometry, and trig. Of course, you have that sheet in front of you, and so you may want to go ahead and just circle those times so that you are aware of how much time you have anytime you're taking a practice test. And you probably will get a little bit tired of hearing me say, prepare, practice, succeed today. But it really is the motto that you need to follow to do your personal best on the PSAT and the SAT. So we know what the sections are, we know how long they are, and we know how many questions are in each section. You're going to receive a different scoring system for the PSAT than you've seen in the past. Reading and writing are a combined score. They range from 160 to 760 maximum points. The math section, both 3 and 4, calculator and non-calculator, are a second score. Again, that score ranges 160 to 760 total points, for a total PSAT score between 320 and 1520. The unique thing about the new PSAT is it is only 40 points under an SAT scale. So if you were to receive a 320 on that PSAT, you could add plus 40 and know that your SAT would have been somewhere around 360. There's no longer a perfect score on a PSAT as well. 1520 is your maximum point total, but it doesn't correlate to a perfect score. You'll also have a secondary set of test scores for reading, writing, and math, and they range between 8 and 38. You'll receive some cross-text scores, and those are history, social studies, and science. While the PSAT and the SAT don't have history and science sections, you will receive a cross-test score because there are questions that are embedded within the test now that will help them determine your college readiness indicator for history and science within the PSAT sections that you see. Our next slide is PSAT sub-scores. Now, this slide is kind of busy, and this is also new to the PSAT sub-scores. The reason that I say that it's kind of busy is there's a lot of writing here. And to be succinct, you're going to have a scaled score of 1 to 15 on 7 categories within the PSAT sections: reading, writing and language, and math. You'll have a command of evidence score, a words and context score, expression of ideas, standard English conventions, heart of algebra, problem solving and data analysis, and passport to advanced math. These scores just give you an indication of how well within the reading section regarding these particular topics you are doing as a college readiness indicator. Keep in mind though that reading and writing and language is one combined score, and then math is the other half of that PSAT score. It's really all you need to know about sub-scores right now. You'll receive a complete informational sheet on how to utilize those scores when you receive your final PSAT information. This information is really good for you though, because it'll be a great indicator of where you need to spend your time moving forward to either improve your score or get your score to the level that you need it to be going forward into the SAT. So we've talked a lot about scores, we've talked about what exactly is going to be on the PSAT, but we haven't talked about how to take the PSAT. Well, here are 2 general test-taking strategies that will work across the board of PSAT and SAT, and one of them even works on any test you take going forward in your academic career. This first strategy is pretty specific to PSAT and SAT now, and that is this. In the past, you were docked a quarter of a point every time you answered incorrectly on a PSAT or an SAT. On the new format, there's no guessing penalty. So don't leave any answer choices blank. You want to answer every question on the test. Even if you don't have a clue as to what the question is, you still want to color in a bubble. Chances are a few guesses could give you another point. You won't guess everyone right, but you will guess some correctly. We'll also talk about how to be more educated in your guessing, and that's our second strategy, which is eliminating bad answers. So there are many times when we've looked at a test and we don't have a clue of what the question is or what the answer is for the question, but we do recognize that a few of the answer choices are not in fact the answer. So what we want to do is we want to cross those out. Now you may be doing that already, but if you're not, we actually really want you to physically cross out the letter and the first few words of the answer choice that we're not going to select. That sounds like a time waster when in fact it is a time saver. What happens is this. You see that answer and you know that's not in fact the correct answer. But if you only exit out or you don't make any mark on it, your eyes continue to see it, which means your brain continues to process it. If you just put an X out to the side of it, your eyes still don't really recognize that we are no longer considering that answer. Therefore, your brain is still processing that answer option. But if you will physically draw the line through it, it lets your eyes know to tell your brain that it doesn't have to think about that particular question or answer selection anymore. Everybody with me on that? Okay. Some of y'all are already starting to nod off on me. Okay, let's go. Sit up straight. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. One more time. And exhale. I know it's really easy. You've gotten kind of comfortable. It's probably not exactly bright in here, and it's really easy to doze off. Your challenge today is to be awake and engaged. Perseverance is a key indicator of success in college. You want to persevere through this webinar with me today. You want to stay awake and focused. Help your neighbor out. If you see your neighbor starting to doze off, give him a gentle nudge. Don't give him a bruise, but just give him a gentle nudge. And we're going to jump into evidence-based reading. Now again, in your information, some of these strategies are missing key elements of the strategy. You need to write those in as you see them on the screen.